bearing signal from the TACAN, but TACAN operates on UHF, on the UHF spectrum. Stations that are both for military and civilian use have a TACAN, and the DME portion of the TACAN is shared with the VOR station. For user purposes, it looks exactly the same on the airplane. And TACAN is tactical air navigation. The frequency of the DME is paired with the VOR frequency, and then you just tune to the right VOR, and you're going to get that VHF frequency from the VOR, and you're going to get that UHF frequency from the DME. You're going to get the DME signal every 3 seconds, and it's going to be the same Morse code as your VOR. DME is required for some instrument approaches to define some en route intersections. Most GA have no DME, and you can use your IFR approved GPS as a substitute for DME, using the waypoints that you have on your GPS. The distance that the GPS tells you can be a substitute for DME. And then remember, always use, if you're going to use a GPS for navigation under IFR rules, you want to make sure that the database is up to date. If your database is not up to date, you can use it for situational awareness purposes, but you can't legally use it as a primary instrument for instrument flying. Transponders. You got all the information about transponders on your private pilot ground school, and we all know how a transponder works, right? Explain how the transponder works. Mm-hmm.
To ground, and then you can pick it up.
Okay, you gonna add to that?
So the transponder is connected to the static system. It brings in that the raw data per se, and then it transmits it to one of the stations with a 3-digit altitude associated with it, and it gives you your location, your altitude.
Okay. Michael, and what happens when you hit the ident button on your transponder?
It basically gives your signal a stronger presence on the radar.
Mm-hmm. So your dot on the radar kind of like blossoms, like on the radar. That's how the Jeppesen, cute book says it, like it blossoms. So the radar operator, recognizes you and then take you from that point on. Okay. What's mode C? Let me see. Luis Casimiro.
Mode C, it's when you sense your altitude and the airspeed you're flying to the
To the station, to the ground station. And, well, it requires line of sight, just like most radio equipment. And mode S, John.
I have a question for mode S.
Yes.
Does the transponder transmit your airspeed with mode C?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yes.
Mode S is an alternative to mode C. It has more data on it. It's also linked to your N number and serial number of the aircraft. You can
That the mode C.
But it now has more data. In fact, the air traffic controller can look on the screen and it has your N number on it, even if you didn't tell them. There's some other
No escape.
data that I can't remember.
That's what the transponder and DME antennas look like, and it may vary based on the aircraft that you're flying. And this is the new thing, ADSB. Who has an ADSB receiver, or has heard about what ADSB does? It's very popular right now. So, you use one, an ADSB receiver?
Stratus?
Yeah, that's the very popular one. And it stands for Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast System, and it's going to be required to all general aviation aircraft that want to go into the into controlled airspace starting 2020. So it's going to be required whenever Mode C is required. Provides ATC with your aircraft ID, location, ground speed, GPS altitude, and everywhere Mode C or S is required is going to still be required. And when you have only the aircraft that has ADSB out on them is able. They have this. How can I put this clearly? Yeah, piece of a layer cake. I was thinking of more like a hockey puck. Kind of like around them. And if they are sending out their information, they're going to be receiving back from the ground stations all the information that is available. Aircraft that are airborne, aircraft on Mode C or Mode S that the ground station receives, it's going to send them to them. If you only have ADSB in, you have a limited amount of information that's going to be available. You're only going to have available all the information from the system if you are inside that hockey puck area around the aircraft. And I believe you are trying to equip your aircraft with something like ADSB out in the near future.
Seriously considering it because I won't be able to fly the airplane wherever Mode C was formerly required. So if I don't put it in, I can fly under Class C airspace, but I can't fly through it or over it. If I can't go to Fresno and Yosemite Airport. I can still go to Chandler.
Yeah.
If I don't have an ADSB.
Yes. And I'll get back to you with the dimensions, or do you know the dimensions by heart of this hockey puck type?
Question from Mr. Flores.
Yes.
You're using ADSB in?
Yeah.
The airplanes you fly, do they have ADSB out? Okay, so the hockey puck of aircraft data you're receiving is a hockey puck of data that was designed for somebody else that has ADSB out that is close to you. So you're getting the traffic data for somebody else. So that means there could be traffic data that you might have been getting if you had ADSB out, but you're not getting it. So you might be right on the edge of somebody's hockey puck and be getting all that traffic over there and missing it over there. So you don't get the full-blown hockey puck of traffic for you until you are an ADSB out.
Out. Yeah.
transmitter.
Yes. And then all the information, for example, there is no. There are no. I think the cheapest version is UAvionics. Sells a kit for about $1,500 that you put in one of on your aircraft. Either on a wingtip or the tail. Yes, John.
There is the same company that makes the Stratus ADSB in also makes a transponder that is hardwired into the aircraft that has an ADSB out.
Oh, so maybe that's the information that.
Probably 5 or 6 companies that make ADSB out transponders
ADS-B is always going to be required, sending out your signal so that Class C airport or, controlled airspace data set as the in is not 100% required. It just gives you better situational awareness.
Yes, it gives you better situational awareness. And having ADS-B out is to basically help out, air traffic controllers to have more situational awareness, more information about you and what you're doing. Obviously, if you're going to be, if you have ADS-B out, having it, is kind of logical that you're going to have ADS-B in. And then you can display this. There is an overlay on ForeFlight that you can use. If you connect your Stratus to ForeFlight to your iPad, and then you're going to get that information. There is one sort of, free way of getting it if you have an Android tablet using a Avari and an SDR, software-defined radio dongle that you connect to it, but it's not as reliable as, Stratus or Stratux. That's the bootleg version of it. You can find it on Amazon for a fraction of the price. But yeah, you're going to be using iPads anyways. So the Android version is good for if you're plane spotting and things, of that nature.
So the ADS-B in, that still receives its signal from the HC facility, right?
It
Or is it receiving it from the nearest ADS-B out?
Go, John.
There are ADS-B data transmitters for the ADS-B in data across the 50 states and U.S. territories. That is a separate transmitter. Well, actually, that's where your ADS-B out data is going to go to that antenna. Right. But that's also the ADS-B in data for you is going to come out of that.
Right. So then that's what I'm not understanding on how the hockey puck is relative to any other Stratus, because when they
as fast as I can. You send in data, and it gives you your GPS position and altitude. It's going to send out data that says, yo, N number, here's your data. Okay. So it's going to send out data just for this hockey puck where you are. But anybody that's flying around, if they're inside of that hockey puck, they're going to go, oh, it's for somebody that's near me, so I'm going to display it. So it's not customized for you. It's customized for you if you have ADS-B out. Because they don't want to send, you don't want to be given all the traffic for the entire United States. So your ADS-B out, it hits that antenna, says, here I am, here's my altitude. It's going to take all the data it has, all the ADS-B people, and everybody that it can find on radar, even without ADS-B, and it's going to send you that data based on where you are in X number of miles at X plus or minus altitude. And so that's what's going to show up.
Okay, because I've used the Stratus before, and obviously the top box is kind of ADS-B out, right? But it still shows relevant.
It's because there's a lot of airplanes flying around Fresno Air Terminal, and you're just getting their hockey puck data.
There's this ADS-B traffic explain little chart. Okay, scenario 1, flying with Stratus but no ADS-B out equipped. That's the situation that you're, that you have. You are going to be able to see, and that's the one that, remember we had that conversation like a couple of months ago of when I had information in Avari in the ground, even though, I wasn't flying or I wasn't like near airplanes.
The question is, will you get some ADS-B out data?
Yes.
If you have an ADS-B in? I don't know.
Okay. If you don't have ADS-B out, you're going to be able to see other airplanes that have ADS-B out, air to air, on this frequency, on 978 megahertz. Airplanes that are on mode C and they are transmitting their mode C to a ground station, and that ground station, is sending out their position to airplanes that do have ADS-B out, you're not going to be able to see them. You're not going to get any ADSB ground station data.
So you'll be able to get the other ADSB outs, but just not the mode C that are relayed from the
Mm-hmm.
ground station.
Or, yeah, or the information that is related to the ground station. Yes. And, of course, that's what I wanted to do. And then, no ADSB out, you're close to, okay. Second case, you are close to an airplane that has ADSB out. And then, you don't have ADSB out, but you're going to be able to get the information that the airplane that has ADSB out has. You know, if this, and this is the example that John gave, if an aircraft that is not on the hockey puck of that airplane, you know, you're not going to be able to see them. He's going to be able to see them because he's receiving the information from the ground station, but you're not going to be able. Let me see. No, take that back. You are not going to be able, if this aircraft is
Basically, it's not going to give you the mode
it's not going to be the mode C. Yeah.
Because the transmitting station doesn't know what your position is.
Exactly.
It only knows if you just that's why you still receive the other
Mhm.
ADSB
Yeah.
information, which then okay, that makes sense.
Wait, so it's outside your hockey puck, so you still get that mode C on that other aircraft that's outside?
No, you don't get that mode C.
Okay, so it's not relative to anyone.
And then you will get the information on mode C of an aircraft that is inside the hockey puck of the ADSB out airplane. But I am not sure how that one, maybe they explain it here. And no ADSB out on your airplane. You're close to another aircraft with ADSB out equipped. In this case, that ADSB out airplane is waking up the ground station and is receiving custom traffic picture for a 30-mile hockey puck around that airplane. Your portable receiver can listen to that traffic message. While you won't get a complete traffic picture, you will get a better one, since the ground station transmits mode C targets in addition to the ADSB target. Just remember that you don't know what you don't know. There could be a target just outside the hockey puck that is not showing up. So anything within the hockey puck is going to show up. But, you know, something that is out of there, you know, is not going to show up. And then when you have ADSB, of course you don't have internet. Really?
So do you know what the refresh rate is on that? As soon as an aircraft does pop up into your hockey puck, would you get that, assuming relatively soon, or is it going to take a minute for it to pop up?
I don't know that. I will get back to you, you know. Okay, but we need to get through the material, so enough ADSB. We can talk about it, you know, later. GPS, we all use GPS. Stands for Global Positioning System. We have a constellation of satellites. It's compressed, you know, by the satellites, master and control stations, and the receivers.
With this ASB thing, I have a question about the ASB. Just a quick one. Will the required satellites to use it effectively?
Mm-hmm.
Will that change? Because I think it's what right now, 5?
You ought to be able to see at least 5.
At least 5.
But you don't have to have all. I do not know if they're going to, when they add GPS satellites, it's usually because they're going to take one out of service. I haven't read anything that says they're going to have more than 24 in use at any given moment. They always keep a few spares up there no matter what.
And you need 5, and that's why you check RAIM. You know, you need 5 out of 5, you know, in order to be legal and accurate. But we're going to go, you know, to that in a couple of slides. The constellation is 24 plus spare satellites. You need a minimum of 5 GPS visible at any location at any time. 2D position requires 3 satellites. 3D position requires 4. And RAIM check, when you check RAIM on your GPS on board your airplane, you need 5 satellites. You can, there's a way that you can check on your GPS your, actual RAIM right now, and then your predictive RAIM when you get to your destination. So if you're going to file an IFR flight plan to your destination, is, best practice is to check the RAIM that you have right now and check the RAIM, the predictive RAIM at your destination on your ETA. And that's the way that you know that you're going to have GPS signal when you get there. Yes, John? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. As part of your pre-flight check on your GPS, you can do current RAIM and predictive RAIM. GPS frequencies are also line of sight, can penetrate clouds, but not moisture or buildings. No, mountains or buildings. And in a deep valley, GPS signal may be blocked. You have the 530 on the sim, and you have the 430 on the airplanes. Yeah, that's the case, right? The main difference is the size of the screen. Basically, most of the functions on most GPSs are basically the same. You have your range buttons. You adjust, the scope of your radius. Direct to, different menu options. Enter, clear, and to be clear with you, most of the options on the GPS, you only going to learn them by playing with your GPS. By having time set apart just to play with GPS, just getting quick with the knobs, with the outer knob and the inner knob, and moving those quickly, so you don't stay with your attention, just on GPS and, while you're banking here and there, and next thing you know, you're inverted and you know where you are, but you're not in the right attitude.
Just a real quick thing with that. I was playing around with it on the sim, and it looks like there's like 2 or 3 screens that you don't have. You do have in the aircraft.
In the aircraft.
It's not super important. I just thought.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Because they do have for desktop simulators for GPS, so you can start, playing with.
You can download the Garmin practice version.
Yes.
It won't run on anything higher than Windows 7.
Oh, really?
Well, I'll just put it this way. I tried installing it on 2 computers on Windows 10, and it said neater.
Oh.
So
I
maybe
attempted also to install the simulator, and I did not have any success.
I need to check out if there's an iPad, like an app related to that. I wouldn't be surprised. But, if you have some spare time and you're allowed, I don't know how much access do you have to the aircraft, at JB, so you can turn on the battery and just give it, 10, 15 minutes to GPS. The antenna is on top of the aircraft, and that's what the receiver looks like. Trilateration. That's you take the time for the radio signal to travel from satellite to the receiver. Time versus speed of radio waves equals distance. Multiple distances intersect, and that gives the position. The more satellites you have engaged, the more positions you have, relative to the receiver, and the more accuracy you have, and that's why you need at least 5 satellites to have a RAIM. And they do this, with atomic clocks and a lot of wizardry. But basically, what the way they triangulate your location is by measuring the distance that it takes that signal to bounce back, to that GPS satellite. The more they have, they take that information and they can figure out your exact position. GPS stations are managed by the DoD, and the master control station is in Colorado Springs. There are 5 others, and they send data to the GPS satellites, clock corrections, exact orbit of the satellites, and they keep track of solar flares, day versus night angle of the satellites, and correct for those errors on the database. Main one, Colorado Springs, stations in Hawaii, Ascension, Diego Garcia. Who can pronounce that? Kwajalein. Kwajalein.
It's a famous battle in World War II.
Okay, Kwajalein. Is that on native language or an English version of?
Yes, it's a native southwestern Pacific language, not Japanese.
Kwajalein. Okay. RAIM stands for Receiver Autonomous Integrity Monitoring, and GPS receiver determines number of satellites available, signal strength, doesn't use bad signals, and predicts if the rain will be adequate at the ETA or on the instrument approach. You can check the RAIM also before you shoot an instrument approach. Check the RAIM at the initial waypoint, and that gives you, the RAIM, the fact that you're going to have GPS signal through the approach. Have you heard about WAS? Improves the accuracy. And it gives you when you're using when you're shooting an approach on GPS and you have WAS available, you're going to have the accuracy is going to be so that you're gonna even have a glide slope indicator on your GPS. It's going to look just like a glide slope indicator on a CI or on an HSI, and it's going to take you right down to the GPS minimums. I think, are those the RNP? RNMP. No.
RNP is either at high altitude or low altitude.
To remember that one. Okay. The accuracy, the sensitivity modes of the GPS when you're en route, 5 miles, terminal 1 mile, on approach 0.3 miles. And depending where you are, the GPS is going to automatically select that mode. On your GPS, you're going to have an indicator on the scale that will show the current sensitivity. Got number 40. We have different types of waypoints. Those are the ones the user define, are the ones that you put in there. It's like, hey, this is my house. I'm going to come, later and, visit my girlfriend and show her that I'm, a badass pilot. And then I'm going to get my ticket taken away. But it's going to be worth it, supposedly. And then you have the predefined that are already on the database. To fly over the waypoint, you must cross the waypoint. if you fly by the waypoint, when you report that you're doing that, you may cut the corner. And these are waypoints on the approach plate that you can. Some of them are required that you fly over them, and some of them you can fly by them, so you can cut the corner to the next leg of the approach. That's what this is. And we're out of time. We're past 7 minutes. Oh, 11:20? Oh, so we have time. Not a problem. Let's get into the weeds of ADSB. Let me see if we have internet now. Okay. If you have ADSB out, you see everything, inside and outside the puck. That's the, yes.
Well, when you're using someone else's ADSBL, is it going to show their position or your position? If you're just using in, is it gonna use like his position? Like if you don't have that out?
Yes. Well, it's gonna. If you have ADSB, if you only have ADSB in, it's gonna show their position because they send GPS coordinates there. So it's gonna show their actual position related, obviously to you because it's sending into the screen their GPS coordinates. It's not like, that you're going to have, if someone else, it's not a relative position. It sends out the actual coordinates of that airplane at that very moment. So you're going to have, awareness of that, where that airplane is, really is. But, once, if that airplane is mode C and then it leaves, the bubble that the other airplane was detecting, then you're going to be blind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there has to be one airplane that has that out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So that's kind of like the common confusion about ADSB is that you actually receive ADSB out, directly from other airplanes.
Regardless of whether or not that you're in that hockey puck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why you can have ground stations, that receive ADSB. It just depends on how good your antenna is in getting those signals, and then decodify them and have them show on your map. The problem is that this mode C airplanes that are flying around, you're going to be blind if you're not within the 30 miles. And how tall is the hockey puck?
7,000, I think.
7,000? Yes, 7,000, 30 miles. And then this one is detected, by the ground station, and it sends the information back to the hockey puck. That's why you can see it. Because his mode C is sending his information to the ground station. And that's why you can't see this one that is outside of the hockey puck.